1995, a biomechanics lab at the University of South Carolina measured something nobody expected. Walking backward cut the crushing force on your kneecap by up to 46%, while strengthening the exact muscle that forward walking weakens. If you are over 55 and your knees ache every morning, this one reversal could change everything. Here is what most people believe. They believe forward walking is the gold standard, the safest, most complete exercise for aging joints. Doctors recommend it, physical therapists prescribe it, and for the most part they are right. Forward walking is excellent. But here is what they leave out. Every single forward step you take drives your heel into the ground first. That impact travels up your shin, through your knee, and slams into the underside of your kneecap. The technical name for this is patellofemoral compressive force. Over years, decades of walking the same direction, that repetitive loading pattern wears the cartilage behind your kneecap unevenly. It preferentially loads the outer quadriceps, a muscle called the vastus lateralis, while the inner stabilizer, the vastus medialis oblique, or VMO, gradually weakens by comparison. That imbalance is one of the most common causes of knee pain in adults over 50. And it gets worse with every forward step because forward walking never corrects it. Now flip the direction. Walk backward and the entire mechanical equation reverses. Your toe touches down first. Your ankle absorbs the impact instead of your knee. Your VMO fires harder. Your hamstrings lengthen under load. And the compressive force behind your kneecap drops by nearly half. This is not theory. This is measured, published, peer-reviewed biomechanics. And the implications go far beyond your knees. Because walking backward also does something to your brain that forward walking cannot. That part of the story, the part about your prefrontal cortex and your memory, is what almost no one talks about. Let us start with the joint mechanics, because that is where the damage begins. In 1995, researchers at the Medical University of South Carolina published a study in the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy. Flynn and Sutis Little measured the forces behind the kneecap during both forward and backward running. They found that backward locomotion reduced peak patellofemoral joint compressive force by approximately 46%. That is not a small number. That is nearly half the load removed. Now, some scientists cautioned that the speed difference between forward and backward trials in that early study may have inflated the result. Fair point. So, in 2012, a team led by Roos at Cardiff University in Wales repeated the experiment with a critical improvement. They matched the running speed exactly, 3.0 meters per second in both directions. The result? Patellofemoral compressive force was still significantly lower during backward movement. The reduction was 27% at identical speed. The study was published in the Journal of Biomechanics. Think about what that means for your knees. Every time you reverse direction, you are lifting roughly a quarter of the crushing load off the cartilage behind your kneecap. Not with a brace, not with a pill, with a direction change. But how? Why does reversing your walking direction reduce that force so dramatically? The answer lies in how your foot meets the ground. When you walk forward, your heel strikes first. That initial contact point sits far from your knee joint, creating a long lever arm. A long lever arm means a large moment, a large rotational force at the knee. Your quadriceps must fire hard to control that moment, and that contraction compresses the patella against the femur. Now reverse it. When you walk backward, your toes touch down first, close to the knee's line of action. The lever arm shrinks, the quadriceps moment drops, and the compressive force behind the kneecap drops with it. It is simple physics. Shorten the lever, reduce the force. But here is the part that matters if your knees already hurt. In 2019, Abdel Raouf and colleagues published an electromyography study in the Journal of Back and Musculoskeletal Rehabilitation. They wired up the thigh muscles of women with diagnosed patellofemoral pain syndrome and measured muscle activation during forward and backward walking. Backward walking increased the firing of the vastus medialis oblique, the VMO, the inner quad muscle that stabilizes your kneecap, while preserving the proper VMO to vastus lateralis ratio. Why does that matter? Because in patellofemoral pain, The VMO is typically too weak relative to the outer quad. Your kneecap gets pulled outward. Cartilage wears unevenly. Pain increases. Forward walking does nothing to correct that imbalance. Backward walking does. And here is where it starts to compound. That same year, 2019, Al-Ghadir and colleagues at King Saud University in Saudi Arabia published a randomized controlled trial in BMC musculoskeletal disorders. 68 adults with knee osteoarthritis, average age 55, were split into 3 groups: retro walking, forward walking, and a control group receiving standard physiotherapy. All groups exercised 3 days a week for 6 weeks. The retro walking group crushed the other 2. Pain scores dropped nearly twice as much, 1.8 points versus 1.0 on the numerical rating scale. Functional disability scores improved by 4.8 points versus 2.2. Quadriceps strength increased by 1.7 kilograms versus 0.7. Timed up and go performance, a measure of how quickly you can stand, walk and sit, improved by 0.6 seconds versus 0.1. 6 weeks, 10 minutes a day, walking backward. But the knee is only where this story begins. Because the reason your brain lights up when you walk backward, that is a completely different mechanism. And it has implications for your memory, your reaction time, and your ability to learn new things after 60. When you walk forward, your brain is essentially on autopilot. The motor cortex sends the same pattern it has been running since you were about 2 years old. Your cerebellum handles the coordination. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making, working memory, and problem-solving, barely flickers. You know this feeling. You have walked to your kitchen 1,000 times without thinking about it. Your legs just go. Now try it backward. In 2023, Zhao and colleagues at Shandong University in China used functional near-infrared spectroscopy, FNIRS, a brain imaging tool that measures blood flow, to scan the prefrontal cortex during forward and backward treadmill walking. The results were published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience. Backward walking produced significantly higher activation in the frontopolar cortex and the frontal eye fields, regions tied to spatial planning, attention, and executive control. Your brain does not treat backward walking as a simple motor task. It treats it as a problem. Every step backward requires your nervous system to calculate spatial relationships without visual confirmation, adjust balance in real time, and coordinate muscles in an unfamiliar firing sequence. That cognitive demand forces your prefrontal cortex to engage. If you have ever felt sharper after walking backward, more alert, more present, this is the reason. Your brain was not relaxing, it was working. And it gets stranger. In 2020, a team published an EEG study in the journal Senses. They measured electrical activity in the sensory motor cortex, the strip of brain tissue that controls voluntary movement during both forward and backward walking. Backward walking induced significantly larger suppression of the upper mu rhythm, the 10 to 12 Hz brainwave band that quiets when the sensory motor cortex is actively engaged. The research is still evolving on exactly what this means long term, but the immediate finding is clear. Backward walking forces your motor cortex to work harder than forward walking does. More cortical engagement, more neural demand, more of your brain activated by the same number of steps. If you are thinking this sounds like it might help with memory, you are right, and somebody tested it. In 2018, Aksenchevich and colleagues at Roehampton University in London conducted 6 experiments with 114 participants. The study was published in the journal Cognition. Participants watched videos, studied word lists, or witnessed a simulated crime scene. Then, before being tested on what they remembered, they were instructed to do one of several things: walk forward, walk backward, stand still, watch a video simulating backward motion, or simply imagine walking backward. The results were consistent across nearly every experiment. Backward motion, whether physical or imagined, improved memory recall. The effect lasted approximately 10 minutes after the motion stopped. If you have ever wanted a reliable pre-study ritual, something you could do before sitting down to learn anything new, walking backward for 10 minutes is now backed by published cognitive science. Let that sit for a moment. If you are finding this useful, if these mechanisms are clicking together in a way that changes how you think about something as simple as your walking direction, then subscribe to this channel now, because the next section is the part nobody covers. It involves your lower back, your hamstrings, and a 20-year research career at the University of Nevada. And it explains why forward walking may be quietly setting your spine up for failure. What almost nobody mentions is this: forward walking can actually tighten your hamstrings over time. And tight hamstrings are one of the most common and most overlooked contributors to chronic lower back pain in adults over 50. Here is why. When you walk forward, your hamstrings contract concentrically to pull your leg back behind your body during the push-off phase. Over thousands of steps per day, tens of thousands per week, this repetitive shortening pattern gradually reduces hamstring flexibility. The hamstrings attach to your pelvis. When they shorten, they pull the pelvis into a posterior tilt. That tilt flattens your lumbar curve, and a flattened lumbar curve compresses the discs in your lower spine, exactly where most back pain originates. Depending on who you ask, somewhere between 60 and 80% of American adults will experience significant lower back pain in their lifetime. A large portion of those cases involve shortened hamstrings and altered pelvic mechanics. And the irony is that the very exercise most doctors recommend, walk more, may be contributing to the tightness that feeds the pain. Now consider what happens when you walk backward. Janet Dufek is a biomechanics researcher at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. She has been studying backward locomotion for more than 20 years. In a study with 10 healthy female participants, Dufek and her team found that walking backward for just 10 to 15 minutes a day over a 4-week period increased hamstring flexibility. Separate research from her group showed that a cohort of 5 athletes self-reported measurable reductions in lower back pain after incorporating backward walking into their routine. The mechanism is straightforward. When you walk backward, your hamstrings work eccentrically. They lengthen under load instead of shortening. That eccentric action stretches the muscle fibers while simultaneously strengthening them. It is a biomechanical opposite of what forward walking does. Read that line again. Forward walking shortens your hamstrings. Backward walking lengthens them. Same muscles, opposite effect. Direction is the variable. And there is a balance component that makes this even more critical for anyone over 55. A 2020 study published in Nature Scientific Reports examined spatiotemporal gait characteristics during backward walking in people with chronic ankle instability. The researchers found that backward walking demanded greater proprioceptive input, your body's ability to sense where it is in space, than forward walking. Your ankle stabilizers worked harder. Your hip abductors fired more consistently. Your entire postural control system operated at a higher level of engagement. This is relevant because proprioceptive decline is one of the primary predictors of falls in older adults. The CDC reports that 1 in 4 Americans over 65 falls each year. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in that age group. And the single biggest risk factor, beyond muscle weakness, is poor proprioception. Backward walking directly trains the system that prevents falls. Not indirectly, not theoretically, directly. Every backward step forces your nervous system to calibrate balance without visual input from the direction of travel. A Dutch study tested 38 participants on a Stroop test, a cognitive task that presents conflicting stimuli, like the word blue written in red ink, while stepping in different directions. Participants who stepped backward showed the fastest reaction times. The researchers at Radboud University suggested that the brain, already engaged in the incongruent task of moving backward, was primed for handling cognitive conflict. Faster reaction time, stronger proprioception, better balance. The very skills that determine whether a 70-year-old catches a curb or falls off one. So the question becomes, how do you actually build this into your life? How many minutes? How often? How fast? And what do you do if your balance is not great to begin with? Here is the protocol. It is called the reverse gait progression. 5 steps, built from the research, designed for anyone over 50 who wants to protect their knees, strengthen their back, and sharpen their brain. No equipment, no gym, no excuses. Step 1. Find your surface. Start indoors. A long hallway with no rugs, no furniture, and no pets is ideal. If you prefer outside, choose a flat, paved, empty path. A school track works well. The surface must be smooth and obstacle-free. Do not start on grass, gravel, or uneven terrain. Safety is the foundation. Step 2. Begin with 2 minutes. Walk backward at roughly half your normal forward pace. Keep your posture upright, do not lean back. Let your toes touch down first, then lower your heel gently. Think of it as rolling your foot from toe to heel. Do this for 2 minutes, then turn around and walk forward for 2 minutes. Alternate. Total session, 10 minutes. Do this 3 days in the first week. The Al-Ghadir trial at King Saud University used this exact starting dose, 10 minutes, 3 times per week, and produced significant reductions in knee pain within 6 weeks. Step 3. Add 1 minute of backward walking per week. By week 4, you should be doing approximately 6 minutes backward within a 14-minute total session. By week 6, aim for 10 continuous minutes of backward walking per session. Dufek's research at the University of Nevada showed that 10 to 15 minutes per day over 4 weeks was sufficient to increase hamstring flexibility and reduce lower back pain reports. Step 4. After your walk, within 10 minutes of finishing, sit down and recall something you studied or read earlier that day. The Akcentievich memory study from Roehampton University showed that the cognitive boost from backward motion lasted approximately 10 minutes. This is your window. Use it. If you are learning a language, reviewing medical information, studying a new skill, or simply trying to remember the details of a book chapter, this is the moment your memory is primed. I call this the reverse recall window. Walk backward, then recall. The physical act of walking backward activates your prefrontal cortex. The recall practice, done immediately after, exploits the heightened neural state. It is a 1-2 combination that no other single exercise provides. Step 5. Once per week, add a challenge layer. Walk backward while counting backward from 100 by 7s, or spell words backward. This dual task demand amplifies the sensory motor cortex activation shown in the 2020 EEG study. Your brain does not just work harder, it adapts. Over weeks, the cognitive load that once felt overwhelming starts to feel manageable. That is neuroplasticity in action. That is your brain rewiring itself because you asked it to do something difficult. If even one of these steps was new to you, hit like. It tells the algorithm to show this to more people who need it. And trust me, a lot of people need this. One last note on safety. If your balance is compromised, if you have had a fall in the past year, or if you feel unstable standing on one leg for more than 10 seconds, start with a partner. Have someone walk forward facing you, hands extended, ready to stabilize, or use a handrail. Dr. Jordan Borman, an exercise physiologist at the Cleveland Clinic, specifically recommends holding the handrails of a treadmill set to a very slow speed for beginners. There is no shame in starting slow. The only mistake is not starting. Here is what is actually happening inside your body every day. You walk forward. Your kneecap absorbs the blow. Your hamstrings shorten. Your VMO weakens. Your proprioceptive system coasts on patterns it memorized decades ago. Your prefrontal cortex barely registers the effort. Step after step, day after day, year after year, the same direction, the same load, the same neural silence. And then one morning, your knee aches for no reason. Your lower back stiffens when you stand up. Your balance falters on a curb you have stepped off 100 times. That is not aging. That is repetition without variation. That is a body that has been asked to do one thing, move forward, for 60 or 70 years, without ever being challenged to reverse the pattern. The fix is absurdly simple. Turn around, 10 minutes, toe to heel, 3 times a week. Your kneecap pressure drops by a quarter. Your hamstrings lengthen instead of tighten. Your VMO fires at the ratio it was designed for. Your prefrontal cortex lights up. Your memory sharpens. Your proprioceptive system recalibrates. All from walking the way you already walk, just in the opposite direction. Some researchers still debate the precise magnitude of the cognitive effects. Fair enough. The biomechanical data, though, is not in dispute. The compressive force data is clean, the muscle activation data is reproducible, and the balance training data points in one consistent direction, backward. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Have you ever tried walking backward for exercise? And if you have, what did you notice first? The knees, the back, or the brain? Here is the line I want you to remember. Forward built the damage, backward is the repair. Share this with someone whose knees have been telling them something is wrong. Share it with someone who gave up walking because it hurt. And if you have not subscribed yet, do it now. What is coming next week goes deeper into the proprioceptive system than anything I have covered before. You will not want to miss it. Your body already knows how to heal. You just have to give it a direction it has not been asked to go.